start over here with my clay, and honestly I want to thank my husband because he's the one that weighed and measured and wedged all of this clay for me, so I'm really thankful for that. So we're going to start off by getting this as centered as possible, and it's the most, it doesn't really look like you're doing anything fancy, it looks pretty boring, but it's the most important part of all of this, is just getting all of this clay as close as you can to the middle of the wheel. And you'll notice I've got water right there because you gotta keep your hands wet, keep the clay from drying out. And then all of this, okay, so quick lesson for you. None of this is wasted. This is called slurry, and you'll notice that I'm kind of scraping it into here because this is the glue that will hold the handles onto the mugs whenever. All right, so what I'm doing now is called opening. And that's basically, I mean, it's where it starts to become a mug instead of just a lump of clay. And I want the bottom to be smooth so that it's easy for folks to clean. And honestly, this is the one part of pottery that people know the most about, but what they may not know is this is the fastest, easiest part. The rest, I mean, there's just a whole lot of steps after this as far as trimming and putting the handle on, firing, glazing, refiring, all of that. Like this is the simple part. It's the important part, but it's not the main only part. And I'm gonna try to keep that rim as flat as I can as I go. All right, so I don't use a lot of tools, but I just use the same few over and over again. And I don't try to make my mugs uniform, because if people wanted uniform mugs, they could go buy, you know, those at any place. If you're after something that's handcrafted, you don't want it to be exactly the same as everybody else's. But I do need some degree of consistency for, you know, glazing and packing them up and transporting them around. So I am using this to kind of measure how high it is. I'm gonna grab a sponge and just gonna kind of clean up the inside a little bit. And now this is kind of, gets a little bit more fun right here. So one thing that I do know that people like that drink coffee is most people, they like their coffee to stay hot. So I do like to put kind of a little belly on my mugs with a more tapered top to hold the heat in, so that their coffee, their tea, you know, their beverage stays, you know, warmer for a little bit longer. And again, I gotta go back and just clean up the bottom of it. And then we're almost done. Just scrape off some more of this slurry on the side so that it dries a little bit faster and smoother, and the glaze has kind of a more smooth look to it. All right, and then this feels like closure right here. I'm gonna take this little strap, and if you notice, see all that stuff that it cleaned off of the top? And then the very last thing is, I can't stay here, so I'm gonna pop this off. Okay, there you go, there's a mug body. I'll put it over here and let it dry, then it'll go on and go through all the other steps.